I'm here with Peter Kida. We're having such a good time setting up an interview to talk about this beautiful 47 Knucklehead. A little background, I did a feature on custom fab motorcycles. They do a lot of work, and I understand they assembled this for you.
Yeah, Roger and Nori and the boys, and you can see did a wonderful job with it.
Yeah.
Before I originally got it, it was a chopper basically, just about 20 years ago. I got it from the Bay Area. So I called the guy, I bought it sight unseen.
Yeah,
He said,
sure.
yeah, it's a strong runner. It was like, had a little Sportster tank, it was like 6 inches over. The frame was all cut up and bondoed. So I wrote for that for a little while like that, and then
you bought it there and brought it
I had
here?
him ship it over. I sent him
Wow.
the money, and it was just like, okay, the guy sounds honest, whatever that means. And it arrived. I spent an hour trying to kick it when it came to the docks. The battery was dead.
Yeah, sure.
But once it started going, it was just sweet.
So you rode this basic chopper.
Yeah.
Back, and then at what point did you decide to go this configuration?
Well, I had a little leak on one of the heads, and I figured, if I'm gonna get that fixed, maybe I'll just pull the whole motor out. And I pulled the whole thing apart. They rebuilt it, and then a few years later, I brought it to Roger, basically in pieces. And he looked at the frame. He said, "No, you don't want that thing.
You don't want the frame."
Goes,
No. Now tell us about this frame. How did you find this?
So Roger got the frame. It's a repop, as the front end is also the Springer
Yeah.
front end. So this is all aftermarket. It's not original frame.
Yeah.
But it's basically the same configuration. It's a wishbone knuckle frame.
But I'm telling you what you've built here is a daily rider. I noticed you got a mechanical brake.
Yeah.
Is that the original brake?
That's also an aftermarket. But basically, when you're on a hill, it's nice to have the front brake.
Yeah.
The hardcore guys will go with no front brake at all.
Well, explain that this is what they call a suicide shift.
Yeah, so you got it's a jockey shift basically. So you got the rocker clutch there. So you're shifting by hand, you're using your foot clutch.
Yeah, so when you get up on a hill, you got to have
Yeah.
the front
Although
brake.
technically it's not suicide because once you put the clutch in, that'll stay there.
It'll stay
so it's
there,
a rocker, yeah.
I did a piece on a 46 Indian, and I was amazed that you can put your foot down because it locks in place.
Yeah. So same thing here.
Okay.
But then a lot of the stuff I picked up was like eBay kind of, like the headlight there.
Yeah.
Is remember those old spotlights in the 30s and 40s that the police would have on the mainland?
yeah.
This is a Unity spotlight made in Chicago. I don't know how old that thing is.
Yeah,
it was all busted up. Roger massaged it, and he did, just did a great job with it.
Well, I got to tell you, it caught my eye immediately. Tell us about some of the other things you got going on.
Okay,
here.
the tank is actually a Wassel tank, and Wassel is a company from London. This guy named Wassel, obviously.
Yeah.
He made tanks for the old limey bikes, like the Nortons, the BSAs, the Triumphs. They would use these on their bikes, a little smaller. And
what do you got, about a gallon and a half?
Yeah, it's an espresso basically. So I make a lot of gas stops.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I'm getting about 40 miles to the gallon, so
Sure.
probably, it's just Hawaii. You have to worry about that,
80
right?
miles here is a career.
Yeah, exactly. Coast
Now,
to coast.
no suspension on the hardtail.
Yeah,
how's that Springer seat?
It's great. It's got the bicycle springs on it, so no problem at all. Yeah. And the horn is actually from Germany. It's called a Hella horn.
The Hella horn.
Yeah. They started at the turn of the century. They made lights for carriages and things like that. I don't know, 30s or 40s maybe. The thing blasts super loud, but it has an old antique look to it.
Sure.
The carburetor's SU carburetor.
Love it. Got to keep some oil on the top there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got the whole procedure starting. You got the little tickler, and you got
tickle it.
Yeah.
Ran one for 10 years.
Spin around 10 times, and
Sure.
yeah.
Well, they were standard on some of the old Triumphs. A lot of the European cars had these.
Exactly. This was actually a British carburetor.
Yeah.
So the old Austin Healey's, the MGs, Jaguars,
Good
and then
carb.
yeah.
Chopper guys love them.
For starting, I wouldn't use anything else.
Are the parts difficult to get?
Well, Roger got the parts. Well, I don't want to say that before I never had any problems with it, but there's gonna be little glitches when you do build like this.
Sure.
It was minor stuff, and since that time, the regulator wasn't working right, so the battery was draining. So I had a couple episodes where I had to push it to the side and get a ride home kind of thing. But once it's ironing that out, it's bulletproof really. This thing could go like 65, 70 miles an hour all day long.
So how sick are you of hearing, "Oh, what year is that?" First question always, isn't it?
Or what is it?
What is it? Now, no turn signals because this year did not come stock with them, so you don't need them.
Yeah.
Even though the law states you should have them.
Yeah.
Hey, this was a 47.
They grandfathered in.
Grandfather
So
did.
yeah.
Excellent.
Although, you know, signals are good to have, but it's just...
How's the arm?
Yeah.
Would you ever think about getting rid of it?
You know, the guy yesterday, he asked me, he goes, "You looking to sell it?" I said, I just got the thing back on the road.
Yeah.
You know, I'm actually having another one built. I got a 46.
No?
Yeah. But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah. Well, we'll revisit that one.